Councilor Walkingstick, would you do the invocation, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, God, we just thank you for today. And Lord God, just be with us in our decisions, God. Just give us sound decisions, Father. And God, we pray for those who are sick, Lord. God, we pray that you just fall on them, Father, and heal them, God. God, we just love you and just thank you for all these things. Amen.
Shelley, we're going to do roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Tyler Glory Jordan.
Present.
Bill England. Jack Baker.
Here.
Julia Coates. Here. Jody Fishinghawk. Here. Meredith Rayleigh. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis. Here. Chuck Hoskin Jr. Lee Keener. Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton. David Walkingstick.
Here.
Kara Kellen Watts. We do have a quorum.
Let's see, Frankie, are you wanting to become a member of this?
I got it.
Okay. All right. Our December 12th minutes are in the book. Are there any additions or corrections to be made to those minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to be approved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition also by aye. Okay. The minutes are approved then. Our first report will be the Human Services Department by Marcia Lamb.
Good afternoon. You have your report. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And I also have a small report to give.
Councilor Walkingstick.
Was the report going to be over the Lahee?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and have you do your addition to the report over Lahee, and then we'll take questions.
I hope all of you have received the email that I sent out that we did receive a additional increase with Lahee since the last time we've talked. The amount was $450,449. This makes us a total of $979,791. This will allow us to help the elderly, disabled, and also do a cooling program this summer. What it won't do is, in the past we've been able to do a surplus, like in March, give them another payment, and that won't allow us to do that. But we will take care of the elderly and disabled with cooling and heating.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Are we
Councilor
ready for
Watts.
questions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lamb. So, because I'm trying to make sure my mind's clear. So when we had the initial report for the supplemental money that we
Right.
took from the cash reserves for this, it was because we didn't know, and it was not contingent on additional funding coming in. So the additional money that we take from contingency reserves to put that did households for children with children under 6 years of age for heating.
Yes.
And at that time, we knew we could cover for heating, elderly and disabled, and we supplemented money. It covered.
I'm sorry if I didn't make myself clear. This will help those with children in the home too. With this additional money.
But I think that's even more than what we supplemented.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm still not clear. So if we supplemented it and then we got this bigger amount of money in, even with that supplement, we were not going to have a cooling program.
We are.
Only with this new money, but
Yes.
with I'm trying to make sure my mind's clear. So before the supplement from the tribe and before the additional money from the federal government, we were only going to have heating program for the elderly disabled.
Correct.
So it wouldn't cover anything else, cooling for anyone or heating for households with children under 6.
Correct.
Okay, so now the tribe supplemented, we got heating for households with children under 6.
And
Now the
we'll-
federal government's come in.
And we'll be able to do the cooling.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other questions of Marcia? Yes, Ms. Fishinghall.
Coat vouchers, have they all been given out?
I'm getting that.
Okay.
Speaking of fly heap, I know everybody's wondering about the blankets. We are in the process of ordering those. We anticipate about 2 months. However, we have found some blankets that were not sold, and we're going to make these available. And these are the ones that have the NSU on. So if any of you would like to purchase some, we would gladly help you. $20. And I didn't set that price. I want to buy
So,
we have a limited amount. We do
so
have,
anyone that's interested could see you after the
Exactly.
meeting and set up a...
these were very popular because they have the old seminary with the new Northeastern College, so they were very popular. The Nowata Nutrition Site, we'll be doing a walkthrough Thursday, and hopefully we'll be opening that at the end of the month. We are going to schedule an open house, and we're trying to do that coordinated with our Fed reps because they want to come. And so as soon as I have that date, I'll be sending that out to you. On the Collinsville Nutrition Site, we're waiting on bids for them to start that process. And that's all I know about that. Yes.
I think I had Counselor Keener and then Counselor Watts again.
Yeah, this may be out of the order, but I was going to ask you on the mortgage assistant. You want to wait?
That's not mine.
Okay.
The mortgage assistant. That's and
Okay. All right. Sorry, I did it again.
I can report if I do.
So I did have a question on the blankets. The $30,000 will still be spent on the other style of blankets.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's out of your current budget.
Yeah. Now this one is the old ones that was, I believe it was 09 or 010, I can't remember.
Okay. And then on the Collinsville Nutrition Center, that's you have a plan for that after you get the bids. So that'll be 2012.
We have a lot of questions on that, on why it's taken so long, and I've got a meeting with, anyway, we've got a meeting Friday with Pat Wynn,
Okay.
that will bring us up to date and see what the holdup is on that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Counselor Watts?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Marsha, on your report, I believe the Collinsville Food Distribution Center said completion March 2013, but you anticipate that we might be able to accelerate that, is what you're saying?
Yes. We hope that it'll be ready by the end of the month. So they'll do a walkthrough this Thursday. I think Jerry and I...
It's built?
Yeah, it'll be ready to go. You're talking about no water?
No, we're talking about Collinsville.
Oh, I'm sorry, no. I don't know what's happened to that project. That's why we're having a meeting Friday on that.
Would you follow up in an email to the three of us, since it's our district, and let us know what the outcome of that meeting is and your findings?
The three,
Because those constituents up there
They
are...
keep asking every
Yep.
month.
yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Marcia.
Counselor Garvin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's going to get colder and colder and colder in February. So planning ahead, I'd like to sign up for 10 of those blankets.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I don't know how many we're ordering, but I'll put it down for you.
Okay, thank you.
You really are. It is going to get cold if you're ordering 10 of them. Okay. Under the child development, we're now taking bids for the new Stillwell project. It's, I think, on target. The projection date is spring of next year, I believe. I may be getting my sites mixed up, but I believe that's it. We'll know more on it on the Friday meeting, too. Now, I don't know if Jody and you know of the trouble that we've had with where we're located now. Every time it rains, it floods right in there. And what they're trying to do now is move the dirt where we can put the water away. The problem is we don't own the property. The gentleman won't fix anything, so, but anyway, when there's a really hard rain, it goes right in.
Are you talking about the present one or the?
Present one. So, it's,
And
goes in that
child
front
care
door.
center's living to have a odor about it.
yeah,
I don't know why we do that. We buy low-lying land and want to put houses and buildings on it.
yeah. They've looked at other places maybe to move it because it's gotten so bad, you know, last year when it
Oh,
rained
yes.
so much, but nothing seemed to come out of it. Angel Tree. As you can see from this report, there you go. We've broken down each county, or each district, and we served over 1,759 families this year under the Angel Tree. We had a total of 5 people. I was really proud of us. We had a total of 5 people donate their employee card for the Angel Tree.
Marcia, did everybody get served? Did every child get served that we had a angel for?
You know, I don't know, but I can find out. I know there was some last minute donations, so I hope there was.
If you would report that next month, I'd appreciate it.
I want to do the Angel Tree different next year. I have formed a committee, I think I reported this one, and I will gladly take any recommendations that you guys have.
Madam Chair?
Let's see, Karen, we'll put you on the end, and we'll
That's
let
fine.
every first timer speak first. Councilman Hoskins.
Thank you. One thing that comes to mind is a application location in Veneta. I'm sure there's other people that have other suggestions about application locations, but when I looked this time, I noticed that some of my folks would have to drive to No Water or Jay, which isn't a huge drive, but if you're in the position of needing Angel Tree, you might as well be in Tahlequah for some folks. So anyway, you might look at where you're taking applications when you develop that policy. And then secondly, on the No Water, you said there's going to be an open house to celebrate the opening of that at the end of this month.
They're trying, it may be another month because the Fed reps want to come and we're trying to coordinate it.
If you could avoid scheduling on council committee meetings, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Like to attend, thanks.
Sure will. I'll send a notice out as soon as I know anything.
Okay. Councilman Watts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm curious, so that when people ask, I can help frame it. What are your concerns that led you, I mean, I have concerns, but I'm wanting to understand what led you to the committee.
I just saw that they weren't getting out quick enough. What I would really like to do is to do this ahead of time. But people don't get, the problem with that is people don't get in the mood till after Thanksgiving to do anything. And, you know, we have a staff of, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 people. They do the whole Angel Tree, you know. And so what I really have in mind is to get more staff involved at that time to help them see if they can't get it out. But this committee is going to be formed of different staff members that doesn't normally work in that area. I've already designated a couple, and maybe they can come up with some fresh ideas.
So one thing I would ask you then too is on the committee, whether it's the formal committee members or that the committee actively reaches out, would it be that they're both staff and parents involved? But staff
That's a good idea.
Away from Tahlequah and away from the tribal complex? Because, like, I think that, I don't know if that's the same concerns maybe Councilman Hoskin was referring to, but the access, when you're an hour and a half away, to make sure that they have equitable access, or that they have maybe different issues on schedules as single moms especially, that those things be considered, and the impact on the remote staff that are out away from the complex too.
That might go along with something else we're doing on the tour.
Very good, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Marcia, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Marcia, do you have anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm doing it real fast, I hope. Okay, this is the clothing voucher, same report, and we're winding down that. And this is for each of your areas. It's called clothing voucher in the winter, and I think school clothing in the summer.
Oh,
If you have any questions on that.
that is good.
The Veterans Center, we're doing what they call a dried-in. I guess that means the roof and stuff. For you construction guys out there, I have no idea, but they're putting in the roofs and the doors and the windows, and they're taking bids on that. So, that's, then the last phase will be the volunteer phase, where we will rely strictly on volunteers to finish it up. Now, going along with what you said, one of the things that I have implemented this month is we're doing a customer service satisfaction survey. And we have pulled all the clients who came into family assistance. We're starting there. And this is only for the month of September. And we're sending them out. And it's just a strongly agree, and then with recommendations. What we're going to do, Carrie, is we're going to do focus groups out in communities. And we're going to ask, when we send these surveys out, for the families to participate in this focus group. And hold them in the community. And so I hope we get some stuff there. You hear the complaints and everything, but until you hear from the people, you really don't know. There might be something else going on that you're not aware of.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Marcia, at minimum, can we be notified, because inevitably they'll call us to make sure that it's actually the tribe?
I have a schedule I can send to you.
That would
Right
be-
now we're sending them, we're gathering all the names and addresses. So we hope we have this done by the end of June.
Is it at all possible that we could go sit and listen?
Sure.
Even if you have to put a gag on it, we cannot speak or whatever, but I would appreciate, because I'd like to understand what those issues are
Sure.
too.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
And I'll let you know when we start scheduling.
Councilman Ryan.
Thank you, ma'am. The Collinsville, is it a nutrition center, or what was y'all?
Senior Nutrition Center.
Senior Nutrition Center. And so I wonder if you could just email the entire council on that and let us all
Yes,
know,
I will.
keep up to date on that. Some of us live real close to that area, and we get questions
Okay.
coming back and forth across the two districts.
I'll send it to Diane where she can
Okay,
distribute
and
it.
this district map is not
Is
correct.
it wrong?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And it may not be correct here in 6 months from now either.
Well, I gave it the correct.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilman
I had that done about 5 minutes before it came on.
Just briefly, Madam Chairman.
That's really all that I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I just had one question on the clothing vouchers. When will you start gearing up to do clothing vouchers for the summer? When will you start communicating that to the schools and whatnot?
You will send out notices.
Do you know when that will be?
I'm sorry.
Do you know when that will be? When you'll start scheduling the clothing voucher?
I think they do that around July or August.
Okay, but when do they start reaching out to the schools and advertising that? When do they start the advertising is what I'm wondering. And the reason I ask is because we had an issue in our district about one particular area where everyone that I talked to, and we've gone over this before, so I don't mean to belabor, but everybody I've talked to insists the school was never notified, and so I had a lot of folks that were upset up there.
Okay.
So this year, I just want to make sure that when you guys start your, promoting this, that we're in the loop on it, and that we can just sort of double and triple check that some of those little schools up there know about it. So that's why I'd like to know the timeline.
Now, we do have cards for any that didn't make it, that we can, if you really see a need out there, we don't have very many, but we can certainly take care of the ones that are emergency cases.
I think for the folks in this area, I think they didn't know what it was scheduled for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't in the paper, but the feedback was, well, the schools know about it, so they should have been telling the parents. And then the school says, we didn't know anything about it. And I think ultimately it's just the folks in Talco insist they told the school, and the school says we didn't. That's all in the past. I just want to make sure this time, whatever we need to do to make sure that those little schools up there know about it, that they know about it. So that's
What school was
it? It was Oklahoma Union School.
That's all I have to report. If anyone has any questions?
Thank you, Marcia, I appreciate it. Next one is kind of a combined report of community services, probably housing services. Are you here for roads also?
Yes, but when we get to a little later in my report, I'll have Michael come up. He wants to visit with you all about a little issue there.
Okay, David, go ahead and give us your report.
I'm going to start with the disclosures for the month on the honesty side. We got Duckett and Elizabeth Poor. Nephew is Mike Poor, and that's a housing services employee. It's emergency assistance, and that's the only disclosure for the month. You'd asked me about the initiative to start, or however we call it, having some housing authority employees. We met with the administration, I believe it was last week. We're looking to the things that are naturally a housing authority function, the low rent apartments, the home ownership program, and the new development of building houses. We're looking to set those up underneath the housing authority. The Housing Authority Board had a meeting there. January meeting was actually on the 10th. That one of the things they did was approve me finding an attorney to guide them to make sure the things that need to be set up correctly, the reporting things, 401ks, those type of issues are handled correctly. There's no intent of setting up a new 401 plan. It's to use the tribe's plan. We also utilize the tribe's procurement with the exception of the new development, and we will do the procurement on it at the Housing Authority. Finance, we intend to use the Cherokee Nation Finance Department. What we've visited with Lacey and her folks about is actually setting up, we use Lawson now. We'd already done this 2 or 3 years ago, talked about setting up a separate company called Lawson 2, so we could utilize the same software for the financial reporting of the Housing Authority and the financial books of the Housing Authority. So we've got some things to do before we get there. I'm still trying to make it happen as fast as possible. I'm putting March 1st as a goal. Hopefully that's realistic, but that's what we're shooting for. We will be having a Housing Authority Special Board meeting. I haven't set a date, but it'll be within the next 2 weeks to take up 2 items. One is to revise the procurement policy. Obviously, we haven't had any procurement at the Housing Authority since early 2008, so we need to do that. The other thing is to set up a development budget, so when we start building houses, we've got that in place. Got to check my notes. I'll make sure I didn't leave it now. But what we'd like to do is build the houses with non-federal money. We've got some things to do to get there. One of the things is there's the reauthorization or the NAHASDA back in 2008. The final regs for that are finally going into effect. The comment is due tomorrow, so within just a few months, those will be in effect. One of the things that it does is the program income we generate has no federal regulation. So we can use that money to do this with, along with a bank loan. So we're going to use a combination of the two to not have any federal funds in the development. But we got to get those. We got to get a couple things in place to do that, and that's kind of where we're at. We're still kind of in the planning stages.
Councilor Walking-Stick.
The HOSLA funds for Section 8 housing for college students. I guess right now, all the HOSLA funds is at NSU, and in the past, it's been spread out across the jurisdiction. How much money is available in those HOSLA funds for those college students? Or how could I get that number?
There's two things. One is dorm assistance, and that's handled and that's paid for out of Marsh's rental assistance program funds. It's an existing budget. They're providing assistance. But there's this new thing that was put in the one of the Indian housing plans, and it's called the Learning Village.
The Learning Village?
Learning Village. And that was to go toward some renovations at Haskell Hall Annex up at NSU, and to help with fees, including some board, so to speak, part of the cost of their tuition. Or not tuition, but their staying on campus. And I think the idea was to, if you were going to get dorm assistance, that's what you'd have to participate in. I did have a meeting with Chief Baker. It's been 2-3 weeks ago about that particular issue. In the revision that we're going to give you today, it doesn't address changing that because he's assigned Neil Morton the task of visiting with NSU to find out what promises were made, if there are any contracts, are there any obligations on our part. Out of that $700,000 or whatever it was, there's only been less than $70,000 spent.
Oh, wow.
So they haven't spent a great deal. We're just trying to figure out what it is that we are obligated to do. And once we figure that out, and then if there's a change in direction, we'll come back to this body with another revision to the Indian Housing Plan, if need be.
Okay. So the rental assistance, if you want to get dorm assistance, you go through the rental assistance with Marcia.
We take the application, and
how much
it's really
is it?
coordinated with education.
Is it $1,000 a semester?
I believe it's up to 2 now.
It's $2,000 a semester?
Yeah, I'd have to double check those.
Okay.
I'll get back with you on that for sure.
Okay. All right.
But I did ask the Chief, I said, well, if this comes up, what I tell him? We're looking at it. We'll be making some recommendations in the very near future on that.
Now, are you guys looking at broadening it, or are you guys?
Well, I don't think that the administration is too keen on everybody having to go to NSU.
Sure. Good deal. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
Curtis?
Yes, David, with the new housing program, will let the local schools participate in the impact aid program?
Absolutely. That's big incentive to do that. In fact, that's what they're going through the process right now. School will ask us, the Housing Authority, to send a list of the houses that are in their area, and they go through and pick out the ones that they've got kids in, and they put it on a form, they send it back to us, we make sure it's right, and then we sign off on it. And we're going through that process right now. Actually, I got the Wycliffe on my desk right now that's waiting on them to come pick up. But, yep.
My question, I guess, is more for Marcia. What are the deadlines on that application for dorm assistance?
I want to say it's in August.
Could you send that to
double
me?
check for you? It's been a while since I've heard that now.
Okay. Councilman money.
Thank you. David, that 700,000 that was to go to that NSU refurbishment, I guess, was that what it was? Where is the rest of the money? Is it with you or with NSU?
No, it's here. It has not been spent.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions of Mr. Sutherland?
I would, one of the issues that Mr. Lynn would like to talk about a little bit with you all is on the roads money, specifically that is funded with tribal funds. And from what he explained it to me, you know, we deal with the counties. We try to use the county commissioners to help spend this money, or we provide the money, they do the work. And as soon as, you know, as possible, in the beginning of the year, to plan that, who gets what, who's going to get what, is very beneficial not only to us but to them and all that.
Hi, good afternoon. I won't take up a lot of time, and I know all of you are familiar with the program David is speaking of. When we were under the 9-district plan before, we had a pretty good idea of how those monies were spent. I know Cherokee County had a specific way they spent their money. It was kind of on a rotating basis. Tyne, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Sequoia County had a good plan with theirs. They met back when they were under the 9-district plan. They split theirs equally, 1/3 to each commissioner. We had a pretty good idea of where those monies went at that time. Now that we're under the new district plan, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And what brought this to light here recently is just happens to be a request I received from Sequoia County, and we were discussing how to fund that. And I said, well, 1/3 of each of their monies will go to that project. Well, then I realized, well, we've got Muskogee County and McIntosh, I believe, that are all within that one district. It kind of threw me for a loop, and really what we're looking for is some direction on how we want to split that money up. I don't know exactly how much his plan. Everybody's got a different idea, and it's always been administered kind of individually by district or by council member. We're just kind of looking for some direction. I'm not really looking for an answer today. I just kind of wanted to throw it out and get some thoughts at some point in the future.
Councilman Hoskins.
Thank you. And I don't know if this complicates things or makes it simpler, but by law we're going to 15 districts this summer. So your map is going to look different. And I appreciate the problem, because as I've gotten into this new, very large district, I'm having to become familiar with the road needs of other areas that I haven't covered before, and I'm still sort of getting acclimated to how I'd like to see the money spent. But I think that you might, I hate to say kick the can down the road, but you might wait to see how the redistricting develops before we put anything in place. But I appreciate you raising it now.
Okay. That's something, we can kind of hold off and look forward to until then. I guess on particular requests that we have in hand now, I may have to get with each individual council member. In the Sequoia County, I use as an example, we may need to get with you guys and try to get an idea of how we want that divided up. But we can wait till the summer to come up with a better plan.
Councilman Gordon.
Well, if you wish to know about District 3, just call me. I'll tell you what.
I knew you would.
Okay. Are there any other questions of Councilman Snell?
Michael, can you come to our road meeting? It's not a road. Chicken house project, chicken meeting.
I've got that on my calendar. I do have it on my calendar next Saturday. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any other questions of Michael? Okay. Thank you, Michael. I think that, and the public comment period, Michael, that's, you don't have anything today?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That's just standing agenda items.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all. I guess that puts us down to the Commerce report by Anna Knight. Anna?
Good afternoon. I did want to point out a couple of things on my report. Excuse me. And on one of them, on families increasing financial skills, it's the second yellow band that goes across. These are financial education workshops that we teach to employees out in the communities, to Head Start parents, to CADA participants. In the first quarter, we've had 447 people attend those, and that includes couponing, budgeting tips, saving for Christmas. So this seems to be an item that citizens are very hungry for. People are just looking for ways to save money. So I wanted to point that up. Right now we're gearing up for tax preparation, and we're also going to move the Collinsville office. We have that Housing Authority house there in Collinsville that we man a couple of days a week, and the tag office is going to rent a larger space with more parking, and we're actually going to try to move in with the tag office, which should increase the foot traffic coming into the Collinsville office. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions of Anna? Councilman Keener.
Thank you, Anna. I had a question on the mortgage assistance for, I guess on page 17. When would the 3 counties there become available? They're not yet.
Right, they're not available. We get that information from the Federal Reserve Bank, and right now it's but we continue to check for it every quarter. Okay. And so we will continue to do that.
How many quarters have you been waiting?
Well, they run pretty far behind us anyway. They run about 3 quarters behind us anyway. So we've been reporting the last couple of years.
Just those 3 counties?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the reason for that?
No, I sure don't.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Anna, thank you.
Thank you.
I see we have no business pending under old business. And under new business, a resolution authorizing the revision of the FY 2012 Indian Housing Plan. I'm going to do... Okay, we have a motion to move it forward with a second, so now we'll go into discussion, and I'm going to defer to Mr. Sutherland to give us a kind of a report on it, and then...
Amy's going to hand you out the same information I sent, but she's also going to give you a copy of the actual plan itself. In the plan, we don't have to go through that today, but any changes to the existing plan are highlighted in red. There's not a whole lot of change. Just give her a second. The first page of the little handout is FY 2011 carryover estimated. That's actually the real figure, $18,556,111.31, and add that to the actual amount we're receiving with what's the 2011 block grant funds, which is $29,131. A total available to budget is $47,600,000. That next little area down there, the FY 2012 budgeted, total budget right now that we've got budgeted is $38 million. So we need to do a little bit of revision. I've given you 2 things. One, a summary of the changes, and then a spreadsheet showing who's getting what by what budget. I also broke out the Housing Authority of the Delaware Tribe. Actually, it's the Delaware Tribe. Their amounts identified, so we'll know how much they're getting. But I'm going to go through the summary. Modernization low rent, a one-time increase of $3,250,000 of that will be used by water and sanitation. in conjunction with IHS funds and EPA funds for the water tower at Kenwood. $2.5 million will be used for the demolition and reconstruction of 25 low-rent units currently located at Cherokee Heights and Pryor. The new 25 will be constructed in locations we currently have no rental.
There's some questions by Councilman Hoskins, and I have, who was that down there? Sorry. Councilman Watts, Count One.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt his presentation, but I did have a question specifically on this Cherokee Heights and Pryor. So that's demolish those and rebuild where?
To be determined, but where we have none now. We don't need any extra at Cherokee Heights.
There'll still be some at Cherokee Heights?
Oh yeah, we've got 80, at least 80 others already still there.
I see. Okay, thank you.
These are the very first low rent units that we've gotten back in 1968 or 70 or something, and they were old Army barracks that were brought in there and put up there, and they're just in such bad shape. We've been trying to figure out a plan on these for several years. Got a little extra money, thought this would be a good time to do it. South Coffeyville would be one, not a whole lot of units, but a few. We have no units in Sequoia County. Would be another place that we'd look at, but I'd certainly, if anybody got any suggestions, I'd sure take them.
And South Coffeyville was going to be my suggestion because there's folks in that community that have tried to identify land and identify the need. Would there be the ability to make it just senior housing, or is it?
Yeah,
is there any
actually we could.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that, David. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Kara.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that was, you kind of hit on it, but I want to make sure my mind's clear because there's significant changes, which I welcome. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity given the money on the table. So we have 80 units, and we're going to take out 25 at Pryor and redistribute those elsewhere. So we're going to be down to 55.
No. We've got 100 and, for some reason, I want to say 115 units at Pryor.
So you'll still approximately have 90.
80 or something, 80 to 90, yeah.
Just the talk on the street is that those are always full, except maybe the condition.
No,
So-
there's 8 empty now.
And they're in good
No.
condition? Or maybe people
I'm sorry,
just choose not to move into them even though there's a need in the area because they're not in good condition.
Let me back up. The 8 that I'm talking about are these 8 of the 25. They're not in good condition. The others, the apartments that we have there, the duplexes, there's a high turnover at Cherokee Heights. We can be 95% occupied at 1 week and 85 the next. That's how volatile the turnover it is.
So do we understand why that's the turnover? I mean, I would hate to, if we know, because at one point there was obviously an established need in that area, and I don't want it to short Mays County.
No. When all these old rent units were built back in the 70s and maybe some in the 80s, we served Indians and non-Indians. That was part of the deal. So when the HOSDA came in, it says you serve members of federally recognized tribes. And we really went into, that's all we were serving as in 2001. We completely quit serving non-Indians. Went through a high occupancy period, or a high vacancy period. We have come back, but there's ample, I'll assure you, there's ample apartments at Cherokee Heights without those 25.
Okay, and then how is it that you're going to do the decision-making? I assume it's not what we think by just throwing stuff out.
No, this
where
is
there's opportunities. So how is that decision-making?
years
process
of
gonna-
experience. We know we have nothing in Sequoia County.
Okay.
We have nothing, zero. But if we don't have any rental assistance, we have nothing to offer in Sequoia County. We'd like to have some in Sequoia County. South Coffeyville, I'm talking maybe 6 or 8 units at South Coffeyville. There is, I have no idea how many times I've been contacted. You know, we've got elders up here that need some housing. What do you have? Well, because I got snowboard. But, I mean, I'd be happy to take suggestions.
Well, I guess what I'm looking for, and I can't remember if it really needs to be in the Indian Housing Plan, because I'm not clear how, because we made a conscious decision that the tribe took over housing. And I don't know if we're going to rebuild the housing authority as a separate entity away from the tribe. I want to know where accountability is going to reside, and does it have to be in writing? So what is the decision making? I know, like, when we give homes, it's going to be elders, disabled, there's some of these decision making. So is it economic development drives it? And I understand if there's complete void and there's lack of, then yes, let's cover that need. But after that, if everybody has some housing, how then do we make that decision after that for where these rental units would go? Because with this much money, there's opportunity to do more, not just these 25.
I'm just worried about the 25, and here's why. We get funding based on so many low rent units that we have. These 25 are part of that. So it's in this Indian Housing Plan that we're going to take them down, we're going to rebuild them at locations to be determined. HUD's okay with that. I've already checked it out.
Okay.
To build others, I would welcome you all's input on where you think you need some low rent units. I have no problem with that at all. It actually would be very helpful.
Here's what I would like to do. Let's go ahead and let David go through the entire amended housing plan, and let's hold our questions until we get done, because we're running just a little low on time. If you would
Okay, I
indulge
just
me
have one
with-
last thing on this
Okay.
section. So at our next meeting, regardless of what happens with IHP, could you give us a report where our rental units are today?
Today,
And
yeah.
the average occupancy rate over the last 5 years for those?
Sure.
Thank you.
5 years? 5 years? Really? 5 years?
Okay.
How else do you project things if you're doing a business
Well, I'm just
model?
trying to think of.
David, what we have you go
Three,
ahead
that's
and
fine.
finish
Okay.
this, and you'll do that for her next month.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Modernization Housing Services Home Ownership. This is a new line item of $500,000 that serves current mutual help home buyers who are elderly, handicapped, and disabled and have no MEPA to make major repairs. Major repairs, and it finds as roof replacement, HVAC replacement / repair, water heater replacement / repair of water heaters. Back about 2001, the decision was made to, if someone was in a mutual help home, they would no longer get assistance through the block grant. And the funding all went to the privately owned home through rehab. We got, mutual help is a poor folks program. The incomes that was required was very minimal, less than $10,000. We've got folks out there that need roofs, that are elderly, that just do not have the money to do it. And I've gotten calls from several of you in the past about these folks. And I think this is something that would be really, really beneficial. Land acquisition decreased to $2.8 million. A balance of $1 million remains. With the portion of the remaining $1 million, we will attempt to purchase property adjacent to the Allen Road environmental offices to be used for parking. Funding will also be used to purchase property where it is needed. ERV and repairs on self-help homes. There was already a budget in here in the past. There's not right now. Establishes budget of $400,000 to make repairs to self-help homes that are unfinished or have ventilation problems. I'm out of breath. Can I catch my breath? There are currently 7 houses in construction. There are 2 houses in foreclosure up in the Chelsea area, I believe. There are approximately 4 houses that are remaining to be started. These 4 houses will be stick-built, not built with SIPS panels. We will discontinue taking applications on the self-help program on January 2nd. All applicants that are on the self-help waiting list will be offered an opportunity to participate in the new home ownership program. Home rehab, increase the rehab budget by $2.5 million. This is a one-time increase specifically to target replacement homes and to use $200,000 to construct additional office space. That office space and that up there where we're going to try to buy some property for the parking area, those are model activities, HUD will have to approve those. Environmental reviews, a one-time increase of a little over $36,000 purchase updated equipment. The new home construction funding for the new home program will be through Housing Authority funds. Once the home is completed, a loan will be obtained through a lender for approximately $60,000 to $65,000, depending on the interest rate. The intent is to keep the payment, which will include a payment in lieu of tax and insurance at $350. The cost of the home that is over the loan amount will be paid with mortgage assistance funding or non-federal funding. The house we will construct is approximately 1,000 square feet of living space. The garage, you'll have a bath and a half. The proceeds of the loan, the mortgage assistance will be used to reimburse Housing Authority development funds. We currently have a home ownership waiting list that we use when finding a family for a vacant mutual help or a rural rental home. We also have a self-help waiting list. We're going to contact those families on these lists first before we start taking new applications. Out of breath. Yeah, no kidding. That's not very nice. Really. To the greatest extent feasible, we will build an equal number of houses in all districts. We will give preference to families who have their own property. The land will be held in the name of the Housing Authority. For those that do not have land, existing property held in the name of the Housing Authority will be utilized. Families that do not choose to participate in this program may be able to utilize the existing mortgage assistance program. A family must have adjusted gross income of at least $15,000 to participate. An increase of $200,000 toward the management of self-help homes and the projected additional application processing by the new home construction program. Unbudgeted, this is unbudgeted program income. Two reasons why we didn't budget that. One's for unexpected items, and the other is for regulation change I mentioned earlier. At some point during FY 2012, a new regulation will go into effect that will do away with the federal regulations on program income. When this happens, we will be able to utilize these funds for any housing-related activity without any federal requirement.
Okay. Now, that's kind of a summary of what you want to do, is that right?
That's a summary of what we're proposing, with one other additional item that I didn't put on here, but I put in the Indian Housing Plan. This toward the front on page 5. What we've had that I think we should try to address, and maybe use this as a pilot program. I've had elderly, both of these were elderly single females, 70-ish, who work because they have to work. They have problems with their home. We can't help them. They're over income. They might be $30 over income. They might be $200 over income. Doesn't matter. Congress says if you're going to serve them, 80 or below, unless you have it clearly in your Indian Housing Plan. So I'm calling this the over income housing assistance. It's for housing assistance for families whose incomes fall between 80 and 100% of the national median income. At this point, it's for rehab assistance to existing homeowners. This would be to repair or replace existing privately owned homes. And on page 7, on number 8, it talks about $75,000. I don't want to use a great deal of money, but I'd like to have a little identified in case something like this comes up. We are covered.
And you're allowed to do that. Aren't you allowed to do 10%?
It used to be 10% without any HUD approval, but they changed that. Now, if you're going to do it, you got to have something identified in your plan that says you have this program and you could do this.
So you're adding that to your summary?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are there questions? Councilman Watt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to, because I tried just Googling for meat, but I meant to do it before, but that's just low income, just to make sure my mind's clear, right?
Sure.
the MIPA, you don't spell it out.
MIPA, that stands for their monthly equity payment amount.
Okay, that's what I couldn't remember. So it looks like, I mean, how are we deriving at these numbers? Because I would anticipate there's even a greater need in the community. So I didn't know if you had forecasted what the need was in this area.
We haven't forecasted. I agree with you. But there's only so many that we can do. I mean, the time this gets, passed, we will be 6 months into the
That's fair
period.
enough. At some point, will we forecast?
Absolutely. We can do that. We can find out how many, we run a report that shows every elderly person, how much their income is, how much their payment is, and if they got any MIPA or what have you.
Okay. And then on land acquisition, I'm concerned, why are we going about, if we're going to contract out these homes being built and such, we're paying $1 million for property and parking?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't make that clear. That parking is between 100 and 125 in that general range, 1,000. It has 3 small houses on it. So I think that they were wanting to actually leave one of the houses for some training to do. It's the environmental guys, how to take a lead test and how to do an asbestos and all that kind of business. But the rest of it is for property. Rogers County, if folks don't have their own property, we don't have a lot of property in Rogers County right now. So it makes sense that we would probably have to do a little buying of property.
Okay, so that was my second question. So let me make sure my mind's clear on the parking. So we're on this $125,000, not $1 million for the adjacent parking.
No.
And there's no conflict of interest with who's the parking that this purchase is coming from or anything?
I have no idea who even owns it.
Okay.
If there is a conflict, it has to be disclosed to you all.
Okay.
It has to be disclosed to HUD.
And there's a need under our existing employee staffing?
Yeah.
Okay. And, all right, then I'm fine with that. Then the property purchase, it doesn't explain what the strategy for the property purchase or the decision-making. And I would agree with you that Rogers County needs, land purchases compared to other communities.
Well, the
But how are you going to decide that?
direction we have is, it's kind of like we had in the previous administration. It needs to be with the schools in mind. It needs to be possibly in clusters of 10 if we're going to do that in those general areas. That's kind of the strategy we're looking at.
Will you bring that back to us then?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, when I get a policy developed entirely, as far as the development, that will be in that particular policy. I'll be happy to bring it back.
Okay. And then I guess you're going to forecast again on this $400,000 whether that's enough or not, because I've heard a lot of stories about the self-help that would blend that it's a lot more than $400,000.
We will have to forecast. I've got my guys. They're revisiting every home that's on the ground and doing a write-up on every home.
Does that include our friend that's been contacting us? I hate to put her name.
Why don't you tell me afterwards so I can...
Okay, because I think that deserves special attention.
Oh, yeah. I made contact with her last week.
Perfect.
Hopefully, I'm just waiting on her to respond with, I'm going to go and visit her.
So if we're discontinuing the SIP panel project, do we have existing inventory and we can release that? Can we sell that to people that want it, or what are we going to do with it?
You're asking great questions, because I don't have this. We've got some inventory. We just completed an inventory on the materials that they've had up there. Some of it we can use, a lot of it we can't. A lot of it we feel like is obsolete.
Okay.
Some of it we will never use. Copper, wrong size copper. I don't know what they had copper this big around for, but wasn't anything we needed. So we're trying to figure out how to do that and make it available in some logical fashion so people have an opportunity to get that.
And did I hear you correctly that the Redbird Smith project, which would have been a self-help project, that's discontinued as self-help, and that'll be homes we build now on that project?
The homes, there's 15 homes out there now. Those were done through this. Actually, they weren't really self-help homes because they were built with no one in mind to get them. Or the family wasn't made aware. We're doing it in a mutual help model to fill them because we know we want to use folks in that general area, and they don't have great incomes right there. and we're processing them. I know we've got at least one family approved. I don't know, that was,
So through this change, because I'm really excited about the Redbird Smith project, so are we changing it all and funding it through mutual help to fully flesh out that development?
oh yeah, we will do that.
Okay. And then, where's this, in the home rehab, it says use $200,000 to construct additional office space. Where is this going to be in
Well,
is it for?
if you're familiar with where the existing building is, it's just past the casino.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that half round thing. I've got them stacked 4 deep in the office, trying to do work as far as inspectors doing write-ups and things of that nature. We have moved the self-help folks that were over in the warehouse to rehab, and we just don't have enough office area.
So will we continue housing and credit counseling
I hope so.
under this plan?
Yes.
Because I couldn't, I was here, wish we
We're
had
gonna have
this.
to wrap it up.
I'm sorry, but any housing plan is extremely important, and I've been waiting to ask these questions, so I'm trying to hurry, but I have a number of questions, which I think the
I'll
public...
give you one more minute because we're already past our time.
The answer is yes, we think that that's important.
And they'll still have to show the means and the ability to pay, right?
Yes.
What about, these homes seem small, what if we have a larger family? You're limiting the amount of the size of the
Well,
home.
we're working it to where that same home could be a 4-bedroom.
Okay, very good. And will there be open bidding, public bidding, and tarot compliance involved? Because it's not clear on here that we're actually going to follow through with that.
We're going to put as many Cherokee contractors that are Terrell certified. We want to use every one of them we can.
Are mobile
Okay, we're
homes
gonna have to
excluded?
move to the next person.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Fishing, or Counselor Walking Stick.
I'd call the question.
Okay. Okay, I don't have anybody else on the list after, I don't believe anybody else has raised their hand, so is there a second to that? Okay. Fishing Hawk is seconded, so we'll call for the question. All those in favor of the resolution authorizing the revision of the FY 2012 Indian Housing Plan signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify the same way. Okay, it looks like it passed. Real quickly now, I believe this is a grant application. Ricky, we're going to ask you to come up and explain your grant application to us in 30 seconds or less. And I bet you need to send this to, I bet you need to send this full council tonight, or ask that it be? Okay. Tell us a little bit about what it is.
It's a A&A grant, which is one of the few grants the federal government still has that the community has to be involved in. We have 35 letters of support from the community for it. It is to complete the third module of the community training curriculum. We'll retest the first 2 modules that was done. There was a halt done to the development of the curriculum that we use in COTA 2 years ago. Decision was made above me. This grant also will support the retesting and retraining of the community members. When we get done with this, the curriculum will be embedded in the community and they will be able to train themselves.
And this is no match, right?
No match.
Okay.
It'd be additional money in the COTA grant.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion, and who made the second?
Councilman Keener.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments? And we will need to move this full council tonight, so I assume we can amend the agenda to accomplish that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Looks like our next meeting will be, are there any announcements? Looks like our next meeting will be scheduled for Monday, February 13th at 2 o'clock. Do I hear a motion for adjournment? Okay, second? Okay. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Oh.